Well, President Trump just wrapped taking questions from reporters there at the Oval Office while making an announcement on American nuclear innovation. Now, it comes just one day after the president seemed to upend a nuclear agreement made with Saudi Arabia by adding a new condition. He says it's now contingent on Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords. Here's what the president had to say when asked about that earlier today.
With the Saudis, seems like it's all done, it's signed, and then you come out, throw some new conditions on top of it, the whole thing blows up. So did he get out ahead of you, or what happened there?
No, nobody got out ahead. I mean, I just say that in order to do it, they have to be a member of the Abraham Accords, which have been very successful. But it's time now that they do it. They and others didn't want to do it because of the problem that they had with Iran. You don't have that problem anymore. You don't have a great power there anymore. You have a problem, but the problem is disappearing day by day.
All right, I want to go live now to Washington and CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi. Olivia, what's the status of this deal? Is it dead, or will Saudi Arabia join the Abraham Accords?
Well, that is the question, given the fact that the president did put this new condition on top of it, that they have to join the Abraham Accords. That is not what was signed earlier this week between those two countries. And in that question right there, the president was asked whether Secretary Chris Wright, who's the energy secretary who made this announcement, got out ahead of him in announcing this. And the president said no one got out ahead, but later decided that this was something that Saudi Arabia needed to do in order to have this civilian nuclear deal. The question, though, is whether Saudi Arabia is actually going to agree to that. There was a track during the Biden administration where they were planning to normalize relations with Israel through the Abraham Accords, and this being part of a component for a reason for them to do it, kind of, you know, a little carrot for them if they were to normalize relations with Israel. But then the war against Hamas started in Gaza, and of course the concerns, regional concerns with that as well. And since then, we have not seen Saudi Arabia say publicly that they would be willing to join the Abraham Accords with Israel and normalize those relations. So now the president's kind of putting them in a bit of a corner. If they really do want this civilian nuclear deal to go through, there is a potential that the deal could fall apart if they don't agree to it. That appears to be what the president is saying. And of course, he is making that line in the sand that he says he wants them to join it.
And Olivia, on to the war with Iran. U.S. forces struck Iran for the 13th night in a row yesterday. Did the president, during that press conference, give an update on the negotiations?
He did. He did give an update on the negotiations. He also said, when asked if there's an exit strategy in Iran, he says there are a lot of strategies, and there is a military exit where we just keep going the way we are. We can give it a heavier dose and knock out everything they had. But then he went on to say that the Iranians want to make a deal, continues to say that, even though the U.S. continues to strike Iran for what would be almost 2 weeks now since the ceasefire has fallen apart. Take a listen to what the president said here.
Follow up on Iran. Have you made a decision about the major strikes that you were referring to? Okay. Should we expect to see major strikes?
Look, we're talking to them right now. I think they're getting more and more serious as the days go by, for maybe the obvious reason. But we are talking to them right now. Look, there are two ways. I consider that the smarter way, but the other is probably the easier way, doing what we're doing. And we can take that to a much higher level if we want to. You know, we're prepared to do that, as you know. We're locked and loaded. We're locked and loaded and ready to go, but we're talking to them. So I think while we're talking, we'll see what comes.
Locked and loaded. So the president signaling there that they are willing to perhaps go further to take out those bridges and power plants, as he has been threatening for the last week or so, in expanding this war in the region, as it appears that Iran has continued to reject any potential for some type of deal to reopen the strait. And that's where these negotiations really are at this point. They're not even about their nuclear program. They're not even about ceasefire. It's really just coming down to the Strait of Hormuz. So the president signaling, even though there are talks happening with the political class about perhaps some type of deal, that deal continues to be rejected and war continues to be perpetuated in the region. Liz.
Olivia, thanks so much.